Okay, so we're at the part where Jack is overseas and I'm in North Carolina pregnant with my first child. And Jack is blocked because, yeah, I don't want to have no stress while I'm having this baby, because I was already having complications. Like, they put me on bed rest. My son, my child was trying to come too soon, and so I was just like, I don't need, no extra stress when I'm already stressing about, this. So it got to the time where they finished up the deployment and they're on their way back. So when they get back, it's this whole big old thing because, they've been away from their family for a full year, and it's this like whole little heartfelt thing, like, oh, wives get to see their husbands, and moms and dads, sisters, brothers, all of them get to, um, have their family back safe. So they get off the, we're at this like tarmac place somewhere. Where they're all getting off, and they get out of formation, and everybody trying to find their family. And so I'm out there. I had my son. My son was like 2 months old or something like that. He was about 2 months old, and so it was gonna be his first time, meeting his son. And so when we finally meet up, he sees me, sees his son, hug on us, give us a kiss, and he just like in shock, that his son is here. And he excited about it, and so I'm excited about it. And so we end up going home, which he ain't never seen, because we both was single soldiers and we both lived on post in the barracks. So of course, when I had got pregnant, I had to move off base, well, out of the barracks, because you can't be pregnant living in the barracks. So I had found an apartment close to the base, and got like the furniture for it, turned it into a home. So when he got there, I had dinner ready for him, and I had the body wash, and him some underwear and socks and stuff, just little simple stuff like he might have needed, so he wouldn't have to go through his stuff. And that night, after we after he ate or whatever, he ended up going out to the club with his homeboys, because I guess that's what they wanted to do. They ain't been able to do stuff like that, like drinking and smoking and partying. So he left and he went to the club or whatever, and then it was getting late, so I had hit him up and I was like, how much longer are you gonna be out or whatever? And cause I don't even think he had like got a key or nothing. He just left, got dressed and left. Child, I don't even know if it was that same night or the next night, because it ended up just being a thing like that. Like they end up going out to the club like the whole weekend. So basically I think that one of the girls that was in our unit seen him out there wilding, and somehow it got back to me that they were saying that he was at some girl house. Him and his guys, they all over some other girl house. I don't even remember how it got back to me first, that he was like, you know, messing around with somebody. And so I ended up asking him, like, you know, so and so saying that you was out there, you was sleeping with somebody and all of that. And then he was like, no, it wasn't nothing like that, it wasn't nothing like that. But dude was so drunk and high and just belligerent and just like didn't even care. He ended up telling me that, well, I didn't sleep with her, I just got some head. And I was like, oh, okay, so that what we doing? We just gonna, you know, straight up just tell me the truth, like, oh, okay. I'm like, wow, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? You got a whole wife at home, you got a newborn at home, like, you know, you really out here wilding like you single. And he was like, well, you know, I just wanted to have some fun. Now that I'm out here, I'm free, and you know, I just took it too far or whatever like that. And I won't do it again. I won't do it again. You know, just trying to reassure me or whatever. And so that passes or whatever. So then I don't remember how long they had gave them to be off before they had to go back on post and you know, start back duty. But he was like, I was talking to his mom a lot, and I was telling her about, like, your son is out here wilding or whatever like that. And she was like, you know, sometimes men just do dumb things, but you know, you just gotta just make sure you take care of you and take care of that baby. Like, she tried to play like she was really on my side. But they were like, well, we want to come and visit, we want to see, you know, our grandson and everything like that. So they did. So they came and they was at the apartment, and I had cooked and gave everybody their plates and everything else like that. And this was the first time that Jack like kind of snapped. For real snapped. So, and I asked him years ago, like, what made you like really just snap? Because it was really no reason for why he snapped and just started yelling and screaming and put his hands on me. And he did that with his parents' death. And he said he don't know. So I kind of was thinking like maybe it was because he went to war, and war, like, it messes with people's minds in different ways. So I'm thinking it's because he did go to war, and he's just gonna have a different hard time trying to like acclimate back to regular life, which that was just me making an excuse for him, because at the end of the day, he had already snapped twice on me but just not to that extent. Now, he had threatened me twice, which y'all already know, and then this time was different. So I was trying to leave the house because he was yelling, he was screaming, and I was like, see, mom and dad, see. I was calling him his mom and dad that, and I said, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I have to deal with, and I don't want my son around all of this, you know, violence, the yelling, the screaming. And so his dad was telling him, son, calm down. And so I was like, I'm about to go. Like, I packed up my son some stuff, and I was like, y'all can stay here with your son in this house, but me and my son, we're leaving. I'm gonna go to my homegirl house or something. And so I'm at the door about to go out, and Jack comes up behind me, and he grabs my hair and pull me back like this. Meanwhile, his mom and his dad are there and they're watching it. So the mom's like, Jack, stop. And then his dad was like, young man, don't do this. I know it's my fault. I know you've seen this growing up, but this is not the way you want to handle it, young man. Just let her go. Let her hair go or whatever. And my son was in my arms. my little 3-month-old son. So and Jack was just going off at the mouth like, no, DB this, did that, or whatever. And then child, how I got out that situation, I think I just ended up going in the room with my son and just sleeping with the door locked. So anyways, yeah, after that, his parents ended up leaving eventually, and the unit ended up having to go back, you know, to the unit and start like processing back in or whatever, being back in the States, getting back to work or whatever. So he would still come home after work and every now and then I guess I was still like on pregnancy leave, so I wasn't really like there seeing what was happening, and I didn't know like the background story to why he had even joined the military. Because when I joined, I always make the joke and say I joined the military because I couldn't be a stripper and I needed some fast money. So that's the truth, you know. I just needed some steady money because job market out there wasn't hitting. And for him, it was him and his brother. They had this like deal of what they was gonna do with their money that they saved up from the military. So he never really wanted to be a soldier or make a career or have a stable life with it, which I'm about to find out, because my son was born in August. They got back in September. So our marriage lasted with him in the home until around November. He was gone by November. He went back to Ohio and he left me and his son there. He abandoned us. And so while he was gone, he was basically AWOL, and um, he I would be on the phone with him, talking to him every now and then, and I would be like, they asking about you at the unit, and you should really get back before you get in more trouble. And I was literally, he was like, no, I ain't coming back, and I was like begging him to come back home. I was like, can you please just come back home, be with your family, we can go get some counseling, like, you need to be in your son's life, and just come back, face the music or whatever like that. So he was like, I ain't coming back. And so I was just like, forget about it. After begging him for like dang near 6 months to come back, he kept telling me no, that he up there doing what he doing, and that he ain't coming back. So after 6 months of begging him to come back, I ended up forget about it. I had ended up messing around with a dude, and me and him was getting really close, but it was kind of also like getting out, like people could see like me and him was spending a lot of time together, so it was kind of like you could tell it was more than just a friendship. And so me and him stopped talking. First I had a dude that, yeah, it was just a little fling, like a one night thing, because of how he had been doing me. So I was like, I'm gonna give him some get back. That was my mindset. But it was ignorant. Like, that is not the way to get back. No way. You shouldn't be trying to get back. You should just be moving on. But so that was one person, and yes, I was still married. But when he had left after the 3rd month, I had called the of course, I'm trying to figure out how to get a divorce from this man, since he want to leave me like this. And they were like, in the state of North Carolina, you have the 30 days to get the annulment. After that, you have to wait a full year to divorce. So in my mind, when I'm doing my own thing, I'm like, we already divorced anyway, because as soon as this year come up, I'm filing that paperwork. So yeah, like, we married on paper, but we ain't together because he was not there. He literally left me. And so yeah, first it was that little fling, and then there was the one that I was actually like kind of talking to, and then yeah, like when it started getting out, like me and him was kind of kicking it. We had ended it or whatever, and then a lot has happened in this crazy marriage. So okay, I'm trying to think, y'all. He I'm trying to think, did he try to come back for Christmas that time? I don't remember, because he came back one time, and yeah, he did. He came back one time, and he ended up like, you know, trying to face the music with the military. And so they were in the process of basically discharging him out. And my son was like 6 months. And so I was getting him into daycare. And because he was back, they first had gave him the chance to be coming home and just, you know, coming back on post until the paperwork and stuff gets done. But they were also saying that, like, well, you know, we're gonna try to give you another chance if you end up doing good. Like, you know, you got a confirmation, you gotta do what you're supposed to do and things like that. So it looked like he was like living a regular soldier life. So while he was there, I was still going through a lot of DA. It did not get better. It would be a lot of yelling and screaming, and then pulling up my hair, and he punched a hole in the wall. He took my laptop and stepped on it, crunched it, blacked out the screen. And at that point, I was like, I can't do this. So I had told the folks at my unit, like, this is what's going on. Like, he's doing this, this, and this. And then they were like, you know, you might have to get the 5-0 involved. So hold on. Okay, so I believe it was like a weekend or whatever, and I was like, I'm just gonna go and spend the weekend with my homegirl. And he was like, nah, that ain't finna happen. And so I ended up getting out the house with my bags, with my son. I got my son in the car, he in his car seat, and I'm getting in the car, and as I'm getting in the car, about to close the door, he's running down the stairs. He come down to the car, and then he literally throws himself over me and was like trying to get the car keys, like, you ain't going nowhere, you ain't going nowhere. And I was like, yes I am, yes I am. And then it was a lot of little back and forth, and he was like, you just trying to be a hoe, you trying to be out here or whatever, you ain't going over no girl house or whatever. And I was like, yes I am, like, we need space, you can have an apartment right now, I don't want to deal with drama. And then he started, you know, calling me names and things like that. And then he spit on me. So when he spit on me, I instantly dialed 911, and I was like, this guy is holding me against my will in front of my son, and then he spit on me. And he will not let me go. And so he was like, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you did that, or whatever like that. And so, you know, 5-0 pull up. And then they were like, did he hit you? And I was like, no, he didn't hit me, but he did spit on me. And they were like, oh, well, that's a misdemeanor. It was like, well, we definitely can arrest him for that. Do you want us to arrest him? And I was like, yeah, because he's not finna let me go, and all I'm trying to do is just get out of the situation. So they ended up arresting him, and I ended up leaving. finish up this one little spout of this. So by that point, he ended up getting bailed out, and now he's on post, and now he's on like watch because of DV. And so me and my son, you know, we spent the weekend with his godmom, and then we went back to our apartment. So we had our apartment and everything, and I got a restraining order against him, and I think I had to go to court or whatever eventually after that had happened. And so I had a neighbor that lived under me, and they were about to move, so their lights was off. So she wanted to use my electricity to do the last cleaning, the vacuuming. So I had sent the extension cord down from my living room window, and I stayed on the second floor so she could grab it and, you know, put it in her so she could do her thing. So after she was finished, whatever, I ended up pulling the, you know, the extension cord out or whatever, and, you know, closing the window, but not thinking nothing else of it. I didn't like lock it or whatever. So then he was calling me, telling me, son, can I come over? Can I get some? I'm sorry. I love you, all that stuff like that. And I was like, no. Like, do not come over here. If you come over here, I am gonna call the cops if you come over here. He came over, and he knocking on the front door, banging, begging, Shonda, please let me in. And I was like, no, you're not coming in here. I'm not opening the door. I don't want to have to call the police on you. Please just stop. You know. And so then it got quiet. So I'm in the room with my son, and I'm trying to think, I didn't have the door locked. I'm in the room with my son, and there's this tree that's like right by my balcony. I didn't think the dude had it in him. He was trying to get up in that house. Do you hear me? I'm in the room with my son. This Jack parquets off of a tree to my balcony, started fiddling with windows, found the one that was not locked, lifts it up, breaks the screen in, and now this nigga's is inside my house. So he inside the house, and I'm like, you are crazy. Like, you need to go right now. And he was like, no, we married, this my house too. I was like, there's a restraining order against you. You gotta go. So I ran in the room with my son. I locked the door, and he banging on the door. And I ended up calling the police. He was like, man, you gonna call the police? I was like, yeah. So I called the police. He ran off, and they came, and I was like, I told him what he did, and then they was like, okay, well, we, you know, gonna keep an eye out in the neighborhood or whatever like that. So the police left. You know, I locked the window, and here he come again. Banging on the door. At this point, I'm trying to get out of the apartment altogether and go over to my homegirl house because of all the crap that had just transpired. So as I'm walking down the stairs with my son getting in the car, he pulls back up, and I was like, oh my God. So now he all over me. He's like, oh, I just wanted to love you. I just wanted to and he was like, can we work it out or whatever like that? And I was like, Jack, no. And he was like, man, basically was like, don't go to court, just don't show up or whatever like that. And so I was like, he was like, can you take me back to the base? So I was like, okay. So he in the car, taking him back to the base. We cleared through the getting on base. I take him back to his little area where he's supposed to be, And then he was like, you promise you ain't gonna tell nobody? You promise you ain't gonna call the police? And I was like, yeah, I promise. As soon as he got out my car, I locked my doors and I backed up. And then I called his sergeant. I called 5-0 and I told him what he did. And so, yeah, the way I'm gonna end this one is basically, when the court date came, I showed up. Like I showed up. And so the judge was asking, like, well, you know, what is the outcome? What do you want out of this? I said, look, I'm not trying to get him locked up. I'm not trying to get him to go to jail or prison or anything like that. But is there any way that you can mandate that he seeks help, gets counseling? Because I believe that something ain't right when it comes to that. All right, so I'm gonna end right there, and then I'll pick back up on another part later. Peace. Okay, so something I forgot to add in when I went to court. You know, I had got my chance to, you know, tell what had happened from what was in the report, the police report. So I'm telling them about how, you know, he had came back and how he had came through the window. And so Jack, when it's his turn to talk, he was like, Your Honor, now, and making faces and laughing it off. Now, how am I gonna get in her window? She stays on the second floor. So what you mean to tell me is I climbed the tree, got on the balcony, and then opened up her window? And I was like, yes, that's exactly what he did. Like, I'm not lying. He was like, nah, she lying. Crazy. Like, blew my mind. So, mercy. So, after the court decision was made, he was mad that I showed up because I believe the charges would have been dropped or whatever if I didn't show up. But that just goes to show you I was not about that street life. I was not no real rider. Like, I don't no. I'm like a goody two-shoe, check the box. Like, no, this is a no for me. And so the outcome of that was he ended up getting, you know, put out the military finally. So he got put out and he ended up going back to Ohio. Now, y'all saw me moisturizing my hair. I'm deep conditioning it. This little grocery bag on it. I don't care. I don't care what y'all think, how y'all feel. For real, because guess what? One thing's for certain, two things for sure. You're gonna get the real from me. That's one. Two, if I have to, if you really want me to, I can get her snatched real quick. And you'd be like, who's that girl? Na 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 na. Yeah, so don't play. Okay? I'm here to tell a story. I'm gonna tell my story. Thanks for listening. With that being said,
so Dad's got some new trainers. Wearing them, man. He's got some new trainers, hasn't he?
The fastest ones, yeah. Got fastest ones. Look at them. Fastest ones. Faster than my blue ones, Joe. Faster than my blue ones.